So this is my 2020 review of the Oxford property market. Looking back, it can certainly be seen as a frenetic game of two halves, albeit with a very long half time in the spring. Between the general election in mid-December and Christmas, many Oxford agents saw an unusually higher uplift in activity in the property market, just as we were getting ready for Christmas 2019. Yet once the New Year festivities were out of the way, that pre-Christmas uplift in the local property market was nothing when compared to the bang on Monday 6th of January 2020, with the fabled Boris bounce of the Oxford property market. January, February and most of March were amazing months, with a pent-up demand from people wanting to move from the Brexit uncertainty of 2018-19. Being released in the first few months of 2020, the pandemic hit mid-March and the Oxford property market was put on ice for nearly 3 months, as was almost everyone's lives. Yet at the end of spring, the property market was one of the first sectors of the economy to be reopened. Every economist predicted house price drops in the order of 10% in the best case scenario and 25% in the worst, yet nothing could be further from the truth. When the lockdown restrictions were lifted from the property market, those 3 months allowed Oxford homeowners to reevaluate their relationships with their homes. The true worth of an extra bedroom for an office became priceless, as people working from home were having to take calls and work from the dining room table. Oxford properties with gardens and or close to green spaces all of a sudden became even more desirable. More fuel was put on the fire of the Oxford property market with the introduction of the stamp duty holiday, meaning buyers could save thousands of pounds in tax if they moved before the end of March 2021. This stoked the local property market, and now property values in Oxfordshire are set at 5% higher today compared to a year ago. The fallout of that increased demand for a new home meant those Oxfordshire properties on the market coming out of lockdown and early summer with those extra rooms and gardens were snapped up in days for full price. Oxford buyers were having to spend their stamp duty savings on paying top dollar for the home of their dreams. Yet the increased number of properties coming onto the market in the late summer quenched a lot of that demand, and the prices being achieved became a little bit more reasonable and realistic. This increased the number of properties sold subject to conditions, so much so that nationally almost 2/3 more homes have been sold than would be expected at this time of year. However, as we all know, just because a property is sold, it doesn't mean the property is actually sold. The number of people who have moved home in the last 12 months in Oxfordshire is, as you would expect, much lower. Over the last 10 years, on average, 1,783 Oxford homes have changed hands per year, compared to only 671 Oxford homes in the last year. So what is an Oxford property worth today? Drilling down the 4 types of homes, locally, some interesting numbers appear. I'll put a table below so you can see. Detached house, 842,000. Semi-detached, 491. So of course, these are an overall average of values to give you an idea of what Oxford properties are selling for by their square footage. £409 is the average for a detached home. So what about 2021? Well, normally when the country's GDP drops like a stone, as it did in the summer of 2020, the property market follows in unison. Yet as the economy went south, the house price growth and activity in the property market actually went north. This would appear to be a quite remarkable outcome given that economic framework, but is gradually becoming clear that as far as the Oxfordshire property market is concerned, people's time in lockdown has been spent reflecting on what they really wanted from their home, and has meant that the normal rules of the game simply do not apply.